What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards. Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. We're going to talk Liverpool's lucky scrape-by win over the champions, Man City, and they barely did it. They did it. I mean, they saw that wounded City animal come up there, and they beat that team up worse than the Liverpool fans beat up the City bus when it's pulling into the garage. And we're going to talk Southampton versus Brighton. That game was on Friday. We're going to talk Spurs struggling with Fulham. We're going to talk Arsenal versus West Ham. That had to be the wildest first half in Premier League history. 7 goals. That's just ridiculous. We're going to talk United and anything else that we remember to talk about. Some MLS, the playoffs, the finals is about to be set. But we got 2 guests. One is a usual suspect. We got Lee Hudson, stand-up comic, Southampton fan. What's up, fam?
All good, all good. It's 1 point closer to not being safe.
Yeah, they're down at the bottom. The water's up here. The water's up here. And then we got Kojo. I'm in stand-up comic from England, Liverpool fan. Came over this morning. We watched the game. How you feeling after that?
On top of the world.
On top of the world?
On top of the world, yeah, because not only are we top of the league, but we're top of the Champions League, so we're top of the world right now, you know what I mean? So, yeah, fantastic. How you guys? I should have been here last week. For South, should have been here last week. But anyway, what's going on, Lee?
Oh, good. I was at that game as well. So we're the team that have given you the closest game so far these past few weeks. Not Real Madrid, not City.
Hey, man, it was after international last time, you know what I mean? Not in the first, not beat us up. So, yeah, it was good to get them 3 points, though, I'll tell you that. Tough game. And I feel sorry for you guys because you guys are doing way better than, I think the football you're playing is way better than your position, but after a while, if that's not working for you, you lot gotta switch it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty nice of you, Kojo, to take the 3 points and then say thank you. That's nice, man. It's really nice. So, what are your thoughts on Liverpool versus City today? I know you're feeling good. You're at the top of both leagues. You had a week where you had to face Real Madrid and City and Southampton, and that's the. I don't even know how you beat Southampton, but you pulled it off. And then now you got Newcastle coming up. But how you feel about today, and what's your thoughts on the game today and your new coach?
I feel like today was a statement of not only the result, but the football that we're playing, And I think, a few people like Jason Cundy have said that, we're top of the league without really playing great, which I think there's an element of truth to that. I still don't, it's still a new style of football that we're playing in terms of, not being gung-ho, being more patient and getting that in the bloodstream of all the players. Because when you have injuries, you want to make sure that whoever comes in understands the assignment as well. So for me, I feel like today was kind of like, okay, I think now we're actually hitting our stride. So if you don't thought we was dangerous before, I think that now, and our best striker, this is our best goalkeeper. Hopefully Chiesa gets 6 months out of the league as well. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I feel like today was a statement. It was a statement for where we're heading and also where I think City are. And there's a free hit on City at the moment, and I think we took it. And yeah, I mean, I think they're struggling, and not because Pep's a bad manager all of a sudden. That team's won damn near everything, and I think sometimes you just got to. What Fergie was great at was seeing the changes that needed to be made maybe 2 seasons ahead, whereas Pep's kind of just found out, oh shit, we need to change it up. Do you know what I mean? So I think self-harm is never a good thing, but shows what happens when you lose. You're not winning 7 games. You know what I mean? It could all switch up, But yeah, I'm really excited about today's game, and I'm more confident than I was last season, because obviously last season we spent a long time at the top of the league. This year, because we're controlled in our play and we reserve our energy, and no one can live with us in the second half, I'm confident now, man. 11 points ahead of City. I'm confident. 9 points ahead of Arsenal. I'm confident. We might lose. We might lose 2 more games this season.
Damn. Hopefully, one of them 2 games is to United. So we take that.
Man, United
and how
and
you feel?
Southampton. We'll give you that.
Yeah. Give us something, bro. Give us a point. We got y'all coming up soon too. And how you liking Onslaught? Like, he's your new coach. He's won every game except 2 so far. So what's your thoughts on him and the situation that he slid into? He's a trust fund coach.
Yeah, but you know what it is? This is so easy to say now that it's going well. But before that, that's the worst job in football. Like, who's gonna want to take over from Jurgen Klopp? Why would you take over? It's a free hit for somebody if they don't do well because it will be understood and all this stuff about, even with Alonso, when Alonso was linked to the job, it's like, why would you go in after Klopp? And it takes a brave person to say yes to that, right? But when you trust yourself, when you won titles where you've been before, right, and you believe in your football, you will take that job. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And knowing that he could have gone to Spurs and turned Spurs down also made me go, okay, this person was waiting for the right actual club to join. And I feel like it's one thing to kind of inherit a lot of money, right, from your your parents or whatever, but it's what you do with the money that cements your own legacy. And I think this is the modern day Bob Paisley. I do believe we're going to win more league titles under Slot than Klopp. That's what I believe, because of the type of football that we're playing. We know how to do the gung-ho, but we've never been able to kind of shut things down. Do you know what I mean? Slow the game down in the middle of it when you're under pressure. And for me, with this manager and the way he's playing, and he hasn't bought anybody. Do you know what kind of balls you kind of got to have, the cojones you've got to have to not have signed anyone? And everyone in the league's like, they ain't signed no one. And with a simple shuffle of players, right? You come out to spot, who else can I say he's shifted? And McAllister, I think Szoboszlai, I think to switch them and make them play for what their strengths are. Even Nunes, as much as I'm not a fan, but I think he sees what he's good at and he just uses that to full potential. And all of these
Gravenberch as well.
Granted, if they're liked on, Gravenberch, I said him as well. But all of those players for me, he's coming. He's showing you what I can do with Klopp's players. But what about when he gets his own? That's what I'm excited about. I feel like we need a striker in January. I do think we need.
I feel like these sometimes a coach wants to come in and buy people, but sometimes a fit is a fit. I don't think he could buy anybody more that would be his players than these guys. It's just circumstance. It's just kismet. This works. Like, he's telling them, hey, this is how I want to play, and they are playing the way he asks. There's something I want to ask, but I can't remember. Lee, you want to ask Kojo anything or say anything or curse him out for last week?
No, nothing on last week. What I find funny though is that like Liverpool fans almost were treating Slot when he first came in as like a rebound woman, and now they're like, oh, he might be wifey. Like, I think they've fallen in love now. It's like
go on.
But I think he's exceeded all expectations. I think like the expectations when he came in were probably just to like cement a top 4 place and sort of try and keep the team at the level similar to where they were before. But I think, the fact that he's sort of almost evolved the team in half a season is nuts.
Let me just say something about that, because me and Kojo was talking about that today, and me and you, Lee, I think have talked about it before. But, the media does this thing. Like, I agree, the Premier League is the best league in the world because I watch it. So, but they always have to keep that promotion of it being the best league in the world going. So one of the things they do to do that is to say, Slot might not survive in this league because he never coached in the Premier League before and it's the best league in the world. You can't just bring what you used to do in some other league here. But this is why what they say is bullshit, because there's 3 teams at the top of the table right now. 3 teams in the top 4. Their coaches have never been head coaches or managers in the Premier League before. Brighton's manager is his first time in the Premier League. He's in the top 4. Slot, first time in the Premier League. He's in the top 4. And Maresca, even though he was, like you were saying today, Kojo, he was with Pep at City. He has experience in the Championship. He never head coached. But the thing with these 3 teams that they have in common is they all have great setups. Like, you could slide in, and if you're a good coach, you should succeed with these organizations. What were you gonna say to?
Yeah, I fully agree with that, and I think they have to create a narrative, because a lot of these people are football fans as well. They can't be seen, not supporting someone else. Like Gary Neville was the worst at it. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, and for me, I think, as I said before, to get to a space where you're using the same tools that was there last week. Because you have to remember, we was top of the league for most of last season, right? We was top of the league for most of the season last year.
I remember, you keep telling me.
Because it was gung ho. Yeah, I'm gonna repeat it in 5 minutes. Right? But ultimately, it's one of those things where, like, the fact that he's come in, he's used the same utensils as Klopp had with a long, it was a new midfield last year, so that was definitely ahead of schedule. But this year they've played a year. McAllister, Szoboszlai, right? That Gravenberch, they've all kind of had a bit more time under their belt to kind of figure out what the Premier League's about. Now you're seeing what it looks like with experience now. Do you see what I'm trying to say? They're still fairly young, and there's a clear dynamic. Now you've got Jones added to the mix, Harvey Elliott added to the mix. And it's exciting times, bro. I can't lie. Like, he's a slick manager. He's very direct. When he took off Kwan's the first game, halftime, didn't care. It sent a message to everybody that if you're not playing well and I've got to change it, I'm going to do that. And I think when Klopp left, there was sort of this loyalty that he had to certain players that was harming the results, I believe. And now you got fresh faces. Everyone's got to step up. Those who ain't good enough have been sold, and that's how it is. And I think, if you want to be here after the next transfer window, you got to show some ability. Do you know what I mean? So, and even with, like, the 3 contracts that aren't signed yet and all the other stuff, a new manager still managed to come in and get them playing at the highest peak. And I think it's all, you got to give this guy so much credit, man, because another manager could have been intimidated by the fact that they haven't signed the contracts and all that. But he's not been phased since he's been there about the contracts. He knows what he's able to do. So I'm excited.
Yeah, as far as the contracts, he's just lucky he's got some focused players that don't care about the contract. Like, they all have been with Liverpool long enough to play without knowing what's going to happen to their future, and they're also playing for contracts in other teams if they don't end up
right
there. So they have to prove through Liverpool that they're worthy of either contracts with Liverpool or with somebody else. So you guys have just football going for you through them. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think if I want to cover anything else on the Liverpool front. Now, you guys are good. You got Newcastle next week. And where is that game at?
I believe it's at
Newcastle.
St. James, yeah.
That might be a problem, man. You don't think so a little bit?
You remember Nunes last season?
The same Nunes you don't think is that good? Now you're going to use him as an example of like what he did last season?
That's the team he scores against for the whole season. I'm good at that. I have great he ever does in terms of goals. I'm okay with that. But I think Newcastle kind of like Spurs a little bit. You just don't know what team's gonna turn up.
Yeah.
And I think it's always a tough stadium to go to. But I just think I remember being here in like 1920 in terms of like that run that Liverpool had, and now. Yeah.
Oh, you're about to start? All right.
Cool.
All right.
All right, cool. Even though I'm a performer.
Yeah. All right, Kojo's having parking problems. He's backstage
Guys, I
at
gotta
a
go.
show. All right, thanks for joining, fam. All right, we'll see you.
later, Kojo.
All right. We're just having difficulty hearing him, but hopefully I can clear it up in post. Yeah. Any you got any thoughts on Liverpool and how crazy it is that they're 11 points? Is it 11 points ahead of Man City?
Yeah.
And do you think
points?
It's early, right? Or it's not, it's more than that, it's just early. It's like the state of Man City, that it's not like this is an insurmountable lead. It's what's going on with City is what makes it more of an insurmountable lead. And so what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a weird one with City, because I'm kind of just waiting for it to end and for them to just become City again. Because like, I know they got some injuries, but like Kojo was saying, Liverpool got players out, and it's it's like Rodri can't be that important. Like he's a great player, but you can't, like, you're not.
He won the Ballon d'Or. What do you mean?
Yeah, but it's like you can't be serious if your whole operation falls to shit because one guy isn't there. I know they've had a couple of other injuries as well, but it's like, come on, like, how much money have you spent? Like, you need to, how many dodgy deals have you done behind the scenes with all these these things going on? Who knows? Maybe, I don't know.
Liverpool's dodgy now?
No, City.
Oh, okay, you're talking about City. Yeah, we are talking about City. My
like
bad.
all their illicit dealings and stuff, and money they've been pumping in. And it's like, come on, you can't have a team that falls to pieces when one guy's not there. So yeah, they need to have a real, I don't know, just look at themselves and what they're doing, because it's like, I don't know what it is, because it's like the style of play hasn't really changed from when they were doing things. I don't know if it's such like a mentality thing, because it's weird what's happened to them. Because like if you lose 2 or 3 games on the spin as Man City, it's like, okay, that's bad, but we'll pick it back up. But now it's like 7. I'm thinking, like, come on, that's a lot.
Well, one was a draw, right? But that draw was almost worse than a loss because they came back from 3.
Champions League, yeah. Sorry, not 1 in 7 games.
Yeah, they haven't won in 7. But the bad thing is the game against was it Spurs in the Carabao Cup? That's involved in the streak too. And they kind of played that game and decided we don't care if we win it or not, but then it's in this bad streak. So then it adds to it. And then there's some of these games in the streak where, a lot of weeks City get away with the teams not scoring on them. Like, I've seen teams get great chances on City, like Ipswich, and other teams. Even when they played West Ham had some great chances, didn't put them away. And then at the end of the game, we just talk about how good City played, how much they won. But right now, City's not putting away their chances, and these teams are putting away their chances. And then now it looks like you have this 7-game losing streak. Looks like this thing is falling apart, which it is falling apart.
Yeah.
Because they probably had the worst 2 transfer windows in their club's history since the people who run the club have been there. And maybe taking Barada off their hands, maybe that's hurt them a little bit. And I know they're losing this Kiki guy, or Cheeky. Pep always talks about Cheeky. I think Cheeky's already gone.
No, he's announced he's leaving. He's going at the end of the season, and he's getting replaced by Hugo Viana from Sporting Lisbon.
So let me ask you, if somebody announced that they're leaving, are they really there? Like, you go to work, you see you got a Christmas tree up, it's December when you go to work. Are you really gonna March work in there? Are you going to April work in there? Or is this?
Oh, are you there? I think your connection's done its half-hour drop-off. Uh-oh. I think Ian's connection's gone. I'm going to have to fill some dead air until he gets back. I don't think City's directors have clocked off. I think they're still working. Especially when it's like Pep and Tixi Bagiristan are like close. They have been for years, so I don't think he'd be scuppering him like that. So it's it's a weird one to get to the bottom of what's happened with him. I'll tell Ian when he gets back on. I've just looked, and City only lost 3 games all of last season. They've lost 4 now, and they only won the league by 2 points last season. So that's a pretty crazy drop off in terms of only being 13 games in this season to go from 3 losses last season in 38 games to 4 losses this season in 13 games that's pretty wild. So yes, I mean, where do they go from here? Do they throw some money at it in January? Do they have some meetings where people shout at each other and bring some home truths to the surface? I don't know. It's a weird situation with that, because it's just weird to see a team go from being the sort of dominant machine they were. There, you're back. I was just filling some dead air then, carrying on the talking points that we were talking about.
All right, good.
I was just saying, I don't think Tixi Bagiristan has clocked off. Him and Pep have been boys for years. So I don't think that. But I was just having a look at the table from last year. Man City last year in 38 games lost 3, and this year in 13 games they've lost 4, and they only won the title by 2 points last year. So
most years they only win it by 1 or 2 points.
Yeah. So to have lost 4, I think to win the league now, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but they need to go on like a crazy streak, where they just find some, refined what made them such a dominant team, and then they just need to blow everyone away. But I don't think they've got that in them right now. We both might be eating our words, but I don't think they got it either. Not this year. Yeah.
But I did think the one thing that is dangerous is what the Liverpool fans sung today. You're getting sacked in the morning. And Pep doing this and showing him 6. And me and Kojo were joking around that this dude is going to, when he's walking off the pitch at the end of the game, is walking straight to his office to make transfers for January. Like you sing that to Pep and get his attention, he might have a whole new team in January by the time the window's over. Like fuck it, let's just spend it. Like, we're in trouble anyway. Let's go all the way in. We gamblers. This is what we do. So the Liverpool fans might have to pay, because this is Pep. He's a psychopathic winner, and he's gonna, even if he doesn't do that, he'll play the footage of this to Man City players next time, and he knows how to. This is the time when he can turn shit around. So maybe they'll start slowly, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. You just need players. You don't have the bodies.
See, I agree that he's a psychopathic winner, but I think that might almost be a bad thing in this instance, because he showed in that midweek game where he scratched half his face off.
Yeah,
that he doesn't know how to navigate these waters. He's not been here before.
Never.
Like, this is uncharted territory for him. Like, his psyche, his mentality doesn't know how to come back from this position. I'm not saying he can't, and I think he probably will. I don't know how long it will take, but I think he's like he's rattled by this. He's rocked by this. I think the fact that he turned around and reacted to the fans as well, because he's probably had all amounts of stuff been said to him before. Like, you know, this is a guy who's coached Clásicos at the Bernabeu with Real Madrid fans screaming at him. And, you know, he's coached big games at Anfield before and not reacted to stuff. So for him to turn around and react, that's, you know, he's in his head. Like it's got to him. Like he's feeling it. And I think, you know, worth pointing out as well, some perspective that as a Southampton fan, I have zero sympathy for him. Because, you know, if you're scratching your face off after losing a small handful of games, like, you know, I'm lucky I've got a face left. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, just tell us you're wearing a mask, man. Way to tell us you're wearing a mask. You scratched your face off years ago. And no Southampton fan has a real face. It's all Mission Impossible mask y'all are rocking. I feel like, yeah, he's definitely bothered. But this is my point. It's like slot, right? Everybody's waxing poetic about his press conferences, the things that he says. It's easy to sound great when you're winning. And like you were saying before, like, you sure, even during El Clásicos or other matches, that Pep has had worse things sung to him and said to him by rival fans, but he was winning then. Like, he never had that shit said to him after a 7-game losing streak. You know, he never. So it's different. And every coach, like, I saw the post-game press conference with Pep, and I was like, oh, he's losing it. And you just have to watch it and pay attention, and you could see the red flags. Like, he said something, because he tried to put on like this appearance in the press conference that he's fine. And when somebody acts like they're fine, they're not fine. Like, when you're fine, you're just fine. But when you act like he did some shit, like, I remember this Eddie Murphy stand-up bit where Eddie pissed off his fictional woman in the joke, and he knew he's in trouble when she was like, no, it's fine, go to sleep. And that's how Pep sounded, like, in the interview, like, no, everything's gonna be fine. It's like, no, he's on one. So we'll see what he's on in the next few games. What do you want to talk about next?
You want to bask in the glory of Ruben Amorim's first Premier League victory?
Yeah, I want to bask in it, but I'm going to be as cautious as he was in the press game conference after the game. I like what he said, because he said what I saw. Like, we had moments, and if the first 30 minutes, if we play as bad in the first 30 minutes against Arsenal midweek as we did against Everton ain't got no real cutting edge, and their passes in the final third or key passes were non-existent. But if you try that shit against Arsenal, let them press us like that and just give up the ball to them just any which way, like, a team like Arsenal will win that game in half an hour. So there's some good things. Amorim has been able to train our team with our system for 3 games. But also now Arteta has footage of those 3 games and players with experience in his system that can take his instructions on how to pick us apart. And we're still trying to learn our system. So the full advantage midweek is to Arsenal. We'd be lucky to get 1 point out of this. But just for the players in this game against, scoring the 4 goals, like, we're scoring goals now. Like, deflections are our friend. When Ten Hag was there, deflections were our enemy. Now people, even in one of Ruud's first games, we had that free kick, and I think we won that game 5-0 or something. Bruno took a free kick, it deflected off somebody's head and went right in the goal. And it's just like, this week, Marcus Rashford takes a shot. Well, training ground, corner, set piece. But Braithwaite foots it in the net. So we get a goal out of that. And you were talking last week about Xerxes. And I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I'm glad he got the 2 goals. And here's the crazy thing about this game. Like Amarin said, Everton deserved more, and they did. And we didn't deserve as much as we got, but I'll take it all day. Like, if I showed you all the touches of Xerxes this game, and I don't show you the 2 goals, you'd think he had a bad game. And the same thing probably with Marcus Rashford. So that's the type of game it was. Yeah. I want to be able to show you Xerxes footage without goals, and you'd be like, he had a great game, you know? So but hopefully the goals that him and Marcus scored, this is a pay it forward game. Like Marcus Rashford started this game, and I was like, he ain't playing that good. But then he scored, right? And then who scored first? Was it him?
Yeah, the deflected one.
Then he scored. But before he scored, he was already tired. and giving away balls. But after we scored, the whole energy of our team went up, including his. So then he started going hard, and we got the next goal. And then we've been starting halves well, whether it's the first half or the second half. We scored again instantly because midweek we scored instantly. We put that game away against Bodo, against Glint. Like as soon as the first half started, we've scored goals as soon as game started, and so we're on that early season Brentford shit. You know?
Do you know who I was most impressed with in your game though?
Well, I'm going to get to Ahmad, right?
Yeah.
That's my guy. I mean, this is how Ten Hag got himself fired, essentially. This is how, just look at this guy. You think this is just happening now? This has been there. This is what I've been calling for. This is the difference between Ten Hag having a job and not having a job. It's just, and it's like, our team has a guy. Now we're playing him, but we didn't play him last year. And that guy, Onachu, your team has that guy. Why do teams have that guy that all the coaches who come through refuse to play? It doesn't make no sense to me. It doesn't make no, like, you got a guy like that, and we've been had this guy for 3 years, and now look what he's doing. This ain't no accident. Like, hustle, 2 assists. Not only did he have the assist, but he made goals that he didn't get the assist on. That Xerxes goal, he made that. He tackled 2 Everton players, pressed them.
He was pressing like a man possessed in that game.
Yo, we need 3 more Ahmads, fam. Like, excuse me, like, because our midfield was lacking today. We lost a lot of duels. Even though we got into those duels, we lost them. So we need some midfielders that knows how to, not only knows how to attack, but knows how to tackle. He won, I think, at least 8 duels today. That's a high amount, bro. He ain't no midfielder. So, yeah, man, it's just, I'm happy for him. I'm happy we won. And I think, like, Marcus Rashford is kind of a head case where if good things happen for him, he'll have the confidence to try harder. So I think that's the value of today. Because sometimes he likes it when he's liked, and he doesn't like it when he's not liked. But everybody will like him for this, which will like loosen him up more, you know?
Yeah, like him and Xerxes not having amazing games, but still scoring 2 each, like, can only be good for them.
Right.
Like, it should only hopefully lead to better things. And I did see a couple of bits from Xerxes that I liked though as well outside the goals. Like, there was one where he received the ball like in the middle of the pitch, and in 2 touches he sort of managed to spin and then play a ball out wide, I think to Ahmad, really quickly. And like, yeah, he was doing some stuff. But yeah, like you say, they him and Rashford have definitely got a lot more in them. And I think that's like a good thing for United as well, that knowing that the team aren't anywhere near their ceiling yet, and they're still learning a new system and the new manager's preferences. But there's goals and there's results at the moment. So will that maybe be a little bit more inconsistent going forward? Because it's never linear, the development of a team under a new manager. Like there'll be setbacks, but it's looking positive so far, I'd say. But Wednesday is definitely. Is it Wednesday or Tuesday? This game.
I'm gonna look because I'm just gonna look up what games we got coming up, because even we needed to win
Wednesday
because we got a tough. How do I just get the United side of this thing going?
I can tell you, I've got them here.
All right.
So obviously Arsenal on Wednesday. Then you got Forest at home on Saturday, which
it's gonna be tough, but it should be winnable.
Forest an easy game, and then you're playing Victoria Pilsen in the Europa League. But I mean, Europa League. I'm pretty sure that's low down on your list of priorities. And then the Manchester Derby on the 15th,
and they're takeable. They're win.
Yeah,
they're beatable.
And then you got an EFL Carabao Cup quarter-final against Tottenham.
And
then your Christmas games, like you're playing, it's a mixed bag. Like you got Bournemouth at home, then Wolves away, then Newcastle at home, and then 5th of January, Liverpool away. And then there's a little international break, I think, or it might be FA Cup break. Then you play us on the 16th of January at Old Trafford. So
it's not as bad as I thought. I thought there was it's not as bad as I thought. All right, cool. Because we just need to, like I told you last week, this is our preseason, mid-season. We got a new coach and we have to learn. But I do like how we're getting the 2 new manager bounce. We got the bounce from Ruud and we got the bounce from Amarin. So that just, we haven't lost in a minute. We had some ties, but we haven't lost in a minute, so that's good. But yeah, Rashford, hopefully this will let him know, just keep running. And our bench has depth. So if we wanted to take Rashford out today, we could have put in a guy that scored 2 goals midweek. And we just have depth. Like, one thing I don't understand is Mainu has been injured the entire season. He gets a yellow card today and they're like, he's out for the Arsenal game. I'm like, when did he get the other cards? He ain't been on the pitch. And then the same thing for Martinez. He's skipped games. He has a yellow today. They're like, he's out for the game. So we're going to play Arsenal midweek without Martinez and Mainu. So that hurts. For them not to be injured and to not be able to use them, and after we've had such a history of injuries, that hurts. You want to talk about the Saints, man?
Yeah, I guess.
You ain't happy?
Mean, I'm frustrated, but I'm not unhappy.
Okay.
I think it's probably the best way to put it, because yeah, I mean, it was a really a weird game for us, because I thought first half we weren't really we were doing some nice stuff first half, but I thought Brighton deserved to be 1-0 up at half time. They had more chances than us. They were playing with a bit more intensity than us. It was a scrappy game. Both teams are committing a lot of fouls. I think we were lucky that Flynn Downs stayed on the field at times, but their manager's a rat for calling for the yellow card. That's why the managers were fighting. Yeah, fuck that guy. But yeah, overall, and then second half we upped our intensity a bit. We pressed a little bit better. We moved the ball a little bit quicker, and we scored our goal, which was good. And then we had them kind of on the ropes at that moment. And the goal that we scored for our second one, VAR taking that off is disgraceful. There is
what happened again?
So a cross came in from our left wing. Adam Armstrong's at the near post and the ball goes behind him, but he does sort of move, trying to get it, but the ball goes behind him. and then Archer, who is onside, finishes at the back post. And there was a 5-minute delay from VAR to figure that out. Because first they were looking, was Archer onside? Because he was like borderline. And then Archer's onside. Took them like 3 minutes just to figure that out. And then it went back and like, oh, was Armstrong interfering with play? And it's like, he makes a movement, but their argument was that it affected the goalkeeper. Now, admittedly, I'm a Southampton fan, but I played as a goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at that. The goalkeeper's at the near post for the cross. He takes a step in the other direction and plants his feet before Armstrong even moves to the ball. And the ball moves so quickly that he wouldn't have had a chance of getting it no matter what happened. And the goalkeeper even came out after the game and said, we were lucky, we got away with that. I don't think there was anything wrong with it.
Damn.
So it's like the other team's keepers come out and said like, nah, there was nothing wrong with that. And yeah, it was a pretty shocking VAR decision. I've had enough of VAR this season. They disallowed us a goal at Wolves. When Wolves were only 1-0 up, we equalised for 1-1, and they disallowed that when the foul was actually on our player. And you know, in some of these games, we need to play better. It's not purely the decisions that cost us, but it's annoying. Like when we were 2-1 up against Leicester in the game we lost 3-2, Paul Onuachu played in that game, and he was running through the Leicester box with his shirt being pulled for like 10 seconds, and they didn't call that despite looking at it. So we've been done a little bit dirty this year by VAR. And some people are like, oh, but you got a penalty that wasn't in the box against Liverpool. I'm like, yeah, but then we had one that was a penalty and we didn't get that in that game. So that one evened itself out. But yeah, this one was annoying. I mean, we still had like, I think about 20 minutes left in that game. So we could have easily gone 2-1 up against Brighton and then thrown it away. So it's not saying we would have won the game, but you know, I think a point at Brighton, who are currently the third best team in the league or whatever, if you're looking at the table, you know, I can't really complain about that, because it is a good point for us. And I think the fact that we went toe to toe with them and at their ground and gave them a tough game is a positive. I'm still pretty pessimistic of our chances this season, because I can't remember if I mentioned it on the pod or if I put it in the chat this week, where the season we got relegated after 12 games, we were on 12 points. This year, after 12 games, we're on 4 points. We got 5 now because of this draw, but it's a big gap. It's the same as like City winning the league. Like, it's not impossible, but we're going to have to go on like a
City run,
like a hell of a run. And I don't know if we've got that consistency in us, especially in the Premier League with the level of the teams we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's so hard if you're a team in the position we are with the squad we have to like go on like a 10 game unbeaten streak or a 15 game unbeaten streak. Like, I think that's asking a lot. So I think the main thing for us now is just try not to get that lowest points ever record.
Hilarious. Try not to beat your own record.
No, it's not our record.
Not yours.
That's not our record. I think it was Derby. Just terrible. But yeah, it's a positive week, but the situation's still, yeah. I'm going to Villa away on Saturday.
Oh, dope.
And I think that'll be an interesting game, because the way Villa play under Emery could maybe play into our hands. But you know, Villa are in a little rough patch right now as well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about. Let me just say something about Southampton, and then we get to that Villa game, because, and yeah, we didn't really we talked about United, but we didn't talk about Arsenal United. Well, maybe I know I did say I don't think we're gonna win, but anyway, let's just say for you guys, one of the criticisms I had last week was that you guys are trying to play out the back, and you don't have the personnel to do that. But you corrected me and said sometimes you are successful in playing out the back. And then in this game, in the first half, there was one hole your whole defense was in. They pinned in and everything. And Brighton knows how to apply pressure the correct way. You guys played out of that. And there's moments, you guys have moments when you look like the best team in the world in games. Yeah, so that must be frustrating. Like, I've seen y'all be like 1 minute, like turn into a futsal team from Brazil, and then and then for the next 80 minutes, not identify with that type of team at all. So, but I do think you went toe to toe against Brighton, who's in the top four, Liverpool, and you almost beat City too recently, right?
Yeah, we only lost 1-0 up there. We had chances in that one.
Yeah, and you had chance. So it's like, are you guys like an even less successful Spurs when you just put up a good fight against the top teams, but you definitely lose against the teams on your level or a little bit above you? Like, what y'all doing? You know what I mean? But
yeah, we're an even worse Spurs.
yeah, and even worse Spurs. Yeah, but against Villa, perfect time to play them. Or maybe they think it's the perfect time to play y'all.
We got to navigate Chelsea first midweek. I forgot that we got Chelsea on Wednesday, and we've got Dibbling is suspended, Flynn Downs is suspended, Taylor Harwood-Bellis is suspended because they all picked up yellow cards in that game, so they all like hit the barrier for yellow cards, and obviously Ramsdale is injured. We've got a couple other guys like Lana's injured. Onuachu didn't make this game, so I don't know. I'm hoping he's fit for Chelsea because we're going to be like right down to the bare bones for this game. Bednarek's injured as well, so we got.
Well, at least you had a lucky injury.
Martin's here. You don't need to do any baiting for that. Martin's not here. But yeah, so yeah, Wednesday's going to be rough. I think we're at home, but I don't think it'll make that much of a difference. I think Chelsea, the way they're playing right now, will come and do their thing. You know, I'm tempted to give Cole Palmer the captain in my fantasy football team because I think he's going to have a fun day against us.
Hilarious. That's a tough thing. Like, if I'm playing fantasy football, I would. Yeah, it's tough to like even be happy if I did win that week because that player played against my team in real life and destroyed us. That's tough. But at least you get something out of it if that happens. So versus Villa. Villa's, you know what's funny about Villa's form? They haven't won in 8. And if this was Ten Hag, they'd be like trying to get him out of there. At least the media, you know? Because Unai's what's the difference between this season for them and the last season for us? Like, why is there so much trust in Unai that he can fix this and turn this around, but none in Ten Hag? After his first season, he came third and won a trophy, right? But then
because Ten Hag's Emery's a massive overachievement with what he did with Villa. You know, considering where he found the club when he joined and where he's got them to now. Whereas Ten Hag, you know, you were a bit of a mess when you came in, but it's still a huge club. It was still.
We were a mess, but don't you think, based on the two clubs' history, it's an equal mess based on who they both are? Because, like, Ten Hag got fired for 70 wins and 38 losses. You know what I mean? It's like he got fired with a winning record. So, but somebody at Villa can be 50-50, can be 50%. And keep their job. That's just because of the history of the clubs.
Yeah, it's expectation. It's expectation levels, and also I think Emery getting top 4 with Villa, which they hadn't done. You know, they hadn't qualified for Champions League in God knows how many years.
They almost got relegated 2 years before that.
Yeah, and I think that is.
Yeah,
I think that's bigger than Ten Hag winning an FA Cup. In terms of like comparatively. Given the stature of the clubs, what they'd achieved over the last like 10, 20 years, even. I think him getting Villa into the Champions League was a bigger achievement than Ten Hag winning an FA Cup.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge for Villa to be in the Champions League. I mean, it's huge. And
yeah, it's like a generational like thing. Like it's a once in a generation thing compared to if you look at like what they've achieved. Whereas winning an FA Cup for United ain't once in a generation. That should be the norm. I mean, United have won
big.
Cups and League Cups.
I don't like that though. I don't like. I hear what you, and I'm not. It's not against you, but when we won those cups, right? Like when we won the FA Cup, I was just as ecstatic as that the beaten Bayern. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's because I don't remember exactly how I felt back then because it was so long. But I was loving it in my living room when we beat City last year. You know, so and then when we beat Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, we haven't won in a minute, and the season before was bad, and we had to like fire Ali and get an interim. And interim, we all know he's good and believe in him, but the players didn't, and it fell apart, and we just limped to the end. And it's like this guy comes in, and then we start the season bad, and then we finish third and win a cup. I don't know, man. I don't brush off any. I feel the same after any cup. Like when we won the Europa League with Pogba, it hurts me that when they talk about Pogba, they say he did nothing at United, and they don't mention shit about the Europa League or the FA Cups. They don't say nothing. They act like that shit didn't happen. And for me, like it hurts if we lose a final, and I celebrate, and I don't care if it's a Europa League final. It hurts, and I celebrate a FA Cup like we won the Champions League. I don't know, but you want to talk about Spurs?
Yeah, Spurs lucky to get a draw against Fulham. Fortunate against Fulham at home.
Spurs stink. Let me tell you why Spurs stink. Spurs will beat a top team, and then they'll lose to. They're like, hey, top team, we want them 3 points. Hey, terrible team, here's our 3 points. But Spurs tell you what they think of Fulham by this result. They think Fulham is equal to them. So they say, here's one of the points. You know, like, let's share it. It's like Fulham is in the top half of the table, but they ain't in the top 4. But they're not too good for Spurs to say, we definitely got to beat them. And they're not bad enough for Spurs to say, hey, here's all the 3 points. So then they gave them a point. Also, Fulham, they're as Spursy as Spurs because you don't know which Fulham is going to show up every week. Last week, they got their ass whooped by Wolves. And then this week, they're taking it to Spurs at Spurs. Like they got more shots on goal, you know, and all the highlights was Fulham hitting the post of Spurs and making the Spurs goalkeeper like have the game of his life. And then they go down, and then they still come back, and they have a man sent off, and they still hold on at Spurs. That's how hard Fulham played. But where was that against Wolves, the bottom of the table Wolves? So they're just as Spursy. Yeah. Arsenal. I mean, if you watched, I mean, like we're saying, one of the wildest halves in Premier League history. And I really thought, and I was hoping that West Ham could come back into this once they made it 4-2. I was like, next half is going to be crazy. Next half is going to be, if you think 6 goals in one half is going to be crazy, wait till you see the next half. Because now, you know, and I'm like, they just saved Lopetegui's job. But then they added 5 minutes for extra time, and Arsenal was like, "No, Lopetegui, your job is on the line." They scored I think it was a penalty, and made it 5-2. And then the second half was just like, "Hey, you saw all the goals in the first half, so if you want to stick around and check this out, fine. But you're not getting you got your money's worth in the first half."
Yeah, game's done.
Game's done. Yeah. What do you think about Lopetegui's safety? Speaking of self-harm.
I mean, they're a weird team to figure out at the moment. West Ham, because when they collapse, like big time. Like they really go off the rails. But then like they played great at Newcastle last week when they beat them 2-0. Like they were clinical in that game. And that's the thing, like they keep having these little wins that kind of stop their season from being a disaster. That just about keep Lopetegui in the job. There was, I think this year they lost a bunch of games at the start of the season, and then like they beat Palace. I'm just looking here, then more losses, and then they got a couple of points, and then they smashed Ipswich 4-1, and then they went and they beat you guys. That was like their little
the luckiest.
Yeah, that's just a mention of that game gets you going. And then they got beat like 3-0 by Forest the next game, and yeah, like it's so patchy. Like their season, I feel like
it was Forest that beat them. It was Forest that beat them, not Wolves last game.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but like I feel like they've been playing worse than us this season. Yeah,
they have.
Yeah, they're in 14th with 15 points, and we're bottom with 5.
you guys in Ipswich, I've watched, have played way better than West Ham this season, and I'm not just saying that. I've seen a lot of Ipswich games. I've seen Southampton. You played the only bad game you really had to me was against Bournemouth. But besides that, you've been better than West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, Wolves away was pretty bad as well. That one just wasn't on TV. And maybe a couple of others. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just every time I watch West Ham, it just feels like something's not right there. And yeah, they just have this in them. Like I remember like a few weeks back when they played Chelsea, and I just watched them like completely roll over. Like Jackson was running from halfway line, not being challenged and scoring. And then in this game, like it was like they were the same, like, giving up corners, and then just like, I know Arsenal are good at corners, but they get made to look good if Gabriel can just walk into the 6-yard box and go bam. Didn't even jump.
So Arsenal have been set piece masters. But what I've noticed recently is that everybody's been on to them. So I swear, bro, right before this free kick, when all the players were going to the back post like they normally do for Arsenal, I'm like, they're going to cut. This is going to be a front post corner. I was like, there's no way they have a set piece coach. It's insanity for him to take or tell Saka to take this free kick, this corner, the same way he's been taking it. And sure enough, Gabriel runs to the near post. Saka puts it there, and it goes in the net. And I was like, I knew this. I was like, how did I know this? And West Ham didn't know this. Like, they're getting paid to know this. Like, there's no way they're going to do this back post free corner again, because nothing's happening now. Everybody's onto it. And then they fight back into the game, and then Gabriel again. I was just talking to Lloyd. Lloyd thinks it wasn't a foul. Was that Fabianski or McCarthy? Fabianski punches Gabriel in the face.
That's a foul.
Yeah. Listen, he didn't come out for the second half. That's a foul.
Yeah. That was a stronger punch than any of the punches in the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. Like that was a cleaner punch. Like he got it. That was like right in the eye socket. That was
hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, Jake Paul should wait until Fabianski's like 50 years old and then give him a fight.
Their next game should be called a rematch. That's how much of a punch that was.
Yeah, he knocked him out. That was that was a foul all day long. Like, you know, the ball's gone, and he smashes him in the face. That's 100% a penalty. But I mean, just a crazy game, crazy game, and I'm happy. Gabriel's in my fantasy team, so at least I got some points out of him before he went off the field. I got a goal out of him, and I think the assist as well. Was it goal? Yeah, goal and an assist. So yeah, that was nice. But yeah, Arsenal seem to have sort of sorted their little wobble out now, and they're coming back. So where are they points wise? They're two ahead of City. So yeah, they're in that second place. Whether or not they can stay consistent enough to try, you know, nipping at Liverpool's heels now is another question as well, and we might get that answered when they play you on Wednesday. Because if they don't beat you guys and Liverpool win their next game, then
they're done too.
Liverpool pulling away even further. But yeah, we'll see what Liverpool can do at Newcastle.
The funny thing about watching, I wanted Liverpool to win this game. Like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. You know, like Man City winning their fifth, or Liverpool getting their whatever amount title. You know, like, so I like Liverpool more. You know, so but one of the things I like about Liverpool winning was that it's, even though Arsenal won this weekend, it did sink them. Like, if they had Arsenal Fan U TV interviews after the Liverpool Man City game, it would have been a reaction as if Arsenal had just lost, because I don't know if Arsenal believes they can catch Liverpool. And now that we have to play them midweek, I wish we could take a point off of them and just see the distraughtness of those Arsenal fans, because they're going to know they should have beat us, and they're going to know. When does Liverpool play midweek? Does they play on Tuesday?
It's all Wednesday, yeah.
It's all Wednesday. So Liverpool wins.
There's only 2 games on Tuesday, and they're not games you'd really want to watch.
Right.
They're Ipswich versus Palace and Leicester versus West Ham.
I want to see Leicester for oh Jesus, that's a terrible game. But I do want to see Leicester for Ruud to see what he does. Yeah. What do you think about Ruud getting that job? Because I don't know if we got a chance to talk about it.
That'd be interesting. I mean, he was at the game against Brentford at the weekend, but just watching. Like, he wasn't in the dugout or anything. And I mean, if I was him, I would have been checking if there was a cooling off period on that contract. So, like, is that ink dry yet? Because Leicester were terrible, like really bad. And Brentford's a hard place to go anyway, but it's especially hard when you go there like low on confidence. The manager's just been fired. You got some, interim guy who already knows that he's getting, that he's not getting that job, kind of thing. And yeah, it just looked like they didn't care. The fans were not happy in that game as well. Just bad. And Brentford did their thing. Like, and Leicester managed to make Kevin Schade, who,
oh yeah, hilarious.
Brentford fans have not been, fond of that guy this season. He's not really been doing anything for them, but Leicester managed to make him look like a Ballon d'Or contender in this game, which was pretty nuts. But yeah, just not a good team right now, Leicester. And Ruud's got a big job on his hands, and as a Southampton fan, we're down there with him. I hope he fails.
Hilarious. This is what people say it's a bad appointment because he's only coached 4 games in the Premier League with United, and he didn't finish a full season at PSV, but he did win a trophy before he even ended the season at PSV. And, like we said earlier, it's like there's plenty of coaches in the top 3-4 that never coached here before. But I think like you said, it's the. I don't know about Leicester's personnel enough if it's good enough to stay or keep them in the Premier League. But what I do know Ruud could do is what he did for us. He gave us a structure that it made us hard to be beat. And then we won 3 of the 4 games out of that structure. And maybe Leicester, kind of lacks that type of structure. So he could set them up right. Yeah. And they'll listen to him. And Steve Cooper was kind of a bad, to be a Forest coach and to come to Leicester is bad, right?
Oh yeah, the fans didn't really want him from the off. And yeah, I think Ruud, like, is he the best guy they could have got? Like, I'm not 100% sure, but he's definitely not the worst. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of their other options were a little bit shaky because, like, some of their fans are like, why can't we get Potter? It's like, Potter's already turned you down twice. So what makes you think now, when you're in a real bad spot, that he might say yes? I don't know. Probably the same thing that makes me hopeful that if we fired Martin, we could get Potter as well. But no, like, I think he's not looking at those level jobs. So that one's off the cards because he already turned them down. Another name who was in the frame was a guy called Carlos Corberan at West Brom, he's like a student of Bielsa. He was one of Bielsa's assistants at Leeds, and then he's had his own jobs at like Huddersfield and now West Brom, and he's done really well with them with what he's got in the Championship. But then he's kind of gone off the boil a little bit this season. Like, in their last 10 games, he's got 9 draws, which is something like that. It's pretty wild. And they're not quite performing at the levels previously. Whereas, like, he's someone who I think will end up in the Premier League eventually, but this probably wasn't the right time and the right job. So it's like you start taking the options away. Ruud starts to look like probably one of the better candidates that they could have got. Frank Lampard was out there as well. He got the Coventry job just down the road from Leicester. So it could be worse, Leicester fans. You could have got Frank.
Hilarious. It's fucked up.
But I think Ruud's an interesting appointment. I'll be interested to see how he gets on there. I do wish him the worst. But that's purely from a biased fan perspective. But with my coaching hat on and my unbiased hat on, they could have done a lot worse. And I think he'll command respect. Like you say, he'll get them organised. It'd be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him because he's what he just did for us in that 4 games, or just as a player and just as an assistant coach. So I'm rooting for Ruud down there, and I like Leicester. I like Leicester. Just they pulled off some amazing upsets, and they've kept the lore of they helped to keep the lore of the Premier League, the lore of the Premier League, by what they've done by winning the title. We're going to talk about Chelsea just a little bit, and then go talk about the MLS, who's in the MLS finals, and then fantasy league. Chelsea, I knew this was going to be a problem for Villa. They're already having problems, and you have to go to Chelsea to play an informed Chelsea. An informed Chelsea showed an out-of-form Aston Villa what the deal was and beat them 3-0. Villa they got a lot of injuries, but this is what I think Unai should do as a novice, from my layman eyes. I feel like he needs to do some Amarin things. Now, Amarin, he's using the entire squad, even players that have been benched and aren't been playing good. Midweek, Anthony played. You know what I'm saying? And he played like, he's researching, he's collecting data, and he's not passing judgment, and it's a true clean slate. And he's seeing who fits what, and it's a big risk. You're the coach of Man United, but he's like, some of this garbage can't be all trash. And he's like, let me shine this shit up a little bit and see if I can make it work for me. So, like, we changed a lot of the squad from midweek to the squad that played today. And what he's doing is, finding out who can play in these different positions, but also keeping people in playing shape and giving them some type of confidence. So when he does call on them, he has a bigger squad. And Emery, I think he did that in the beginning, tried everybody out, but now he's kind of narrowed it down to who he wants so that when he has injuries, he's afraid to go out of those parameters. Like, I know Buendia, like, play Buendia, bro. Like, what's his name? Love him. Jamaican, everything. But Bailey ain't playing good. Put in Buendia, even if it's not in a Buendia position. Like start spreading the love, bro. Find out who else can help you. Because there's got to be one player. Like, listen, we have Ahmad, you have that. Emery ain't perfect. There's got to be somebody on this fucking bench that can help you out more than the people you're using. So I think he's shooting himself in the foot with that. And it's like you got injuries, you know.
They got a big schedule as well. With like they play Champions League midweek, and they had this game. They got Brentford midweek, then they got us.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, when I bought the ticket for this game a few weeks back, I wasn't confident at all.
Hilarious.
It was the same as when I bought a ticket for Man City Southampton. I'm like, why am I doing this? And then over the last couple of weeks, I've been like, oh, actually, maybe, you know, it's given me like a little glimmer of hope that it might not be an empty-handed away day. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, you know, Martinez went off injured in this game as well. So I'm hoping he's not fit for when we play them. I guess I'll find out if he's back for Brentford. But after
some horrendous mistakes too.
Oh yeah, I think he's still a quality goalkeeper though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that pass straight to Jackson was crazy. That's a sort of, you know, that's a Southampton playing out the back pass. You know, why are you doing that at Villa?
You don't even play out the back that bad. That was crazy.
And but Chelsea, I mean, like you say, that's a team you don't want to play when you're having a down moment, because they got so many players who are confident right now. Like Jackson's confident, Enzo's confident, Palmer's confident, Madueke's confident. Like they're just playing with like a rhythm and a sort of a tempo that suggests that they're enjoying what they're doing right now.
Cole Palmer be confident when he's depressed. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of confidence he had. Yeah, and they I think they changed. Nobody who won for them midweek started for them. And then
they changed the full 11 when they play in Europe.
The full 11. And people are shitting on Sanchez, but Sanchez, you know, I just believe Sanchez is going to eventually end up being their keeper, and everybody going to change their mind. I feel like I'm having a great track record of calling it, not on like big players, but like players like Sanchez. Like I called Nicholas Jackson. I called it. Like Chelsea fans was like, no, this is not good enough. What about the days of? And I called. Is it Nicholas Jackson or Nate? It's Nicholas. I called this from last season. I called Ahmad, and I'm calling your guy, or Nacho. The first time I seen him, like I called Loftus Cheeks back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking credit, fam. So I'm telling you, Sanchez got it. And if Chelsea doesn't and they send him somewhere else, he'll be fine. But yeah, man, it was a tough game, and Villa are having a tough run. And you know, when shit gets tough, you just gotta start loving other people, Unai. So hopefully you go deeper into the squad and just see who. Like I'm looking at the names of who's R. Olsen. Play him. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he does.
That's the goalkeeper.
Well, they had to play him today. They had to play him today because Martinez left. Let me see who else is on their squad that I don't know. Is this? They play Duran, and that's Olsen. Let me kill that. Let me see who else is on their squad. Yeah, they tried Bailey. You know, Bailey's just Diego Carlos. That's tough. That's tough. You don't always do good. Tiaro Mings. Jesus Christ. Maybe Matson. You know, I believe in Matson. I feel like Matson needs more playing time. Who's Bogard? We'll see.
Bogard, yeah, he's a young defender.
Yes, put him in. Put him in. Because was he going to defend worse than the guys that lost 3-0 today? I'm not sure. Put him in. Spread it around. Drop him in. Make him a CDM. Make him a six. He's a defender. You ain't. Your midfield stinks right now. People are injured. Put him in. And that's all I got to say. Oh, the MLS final set.
East versus West.
And who's it? I know
Galaxy versus Red Bull. That's what we got.
Oh, Orlando didn't make it. The Red Bull knocked them out. Okay.
Yeah, Galaxy versus Red Bull. But Ricky Puig, ACL. He's done.
Oh. You were lying.
Yeah, man.
During the game?
Yeah. Did his ACL.
I saw him play that game.
It's a killer.
He had an assist. They only won by one, right? He had the assist. What part of the game did that happen?
I'm not sure exactly when, but yeah, he's done it.
Poor kid, man.
Yeah,
man.
Good.
Man, poor kid. I've been looking at LA Galaxy jerseys, and they're fire, bro. The MLS got to have some of the best jerseys I've ever seen. Like I've been watching.
Adidas did some like throwback one. They've done some of these like throwback ones for some of the teams, or like retro style ones for some teams that don't have any history.
None of them.
They're looking nice.
Yeah,
they're looking nice. The Galaxy one with like the half green, half black one with the red Adidas stripes is pretty nice. That's pretty tidy.
I want to get one for fun, but I can't, because I kind of have a loyalty to the LAFC. But I'm like, I love a good jersey, but you just can't be like, this is the way the laws and situations of football. But that's, I've seen other great MLS teams. I've seen some dope ass jerseys, man. Yeah, so props for that. What's going on in fantasy league world?
Oh, I mean, Martin's clawed it back against me, which I'm not happy about. He's now 2 points ahead of me, which it's upsetting. It's upsetting. He had Saka. That was like the big thing. He had Saka, which just killed me. Absolutely killed me. He got like 36 points, I think, because he captained him. So yeah, I mean, my week was looking bleak on the Saturday in the early games because I had no one doing anything. I felt confident about Brentford v Leicester. I know I was right to feel confident. I captained Mbumo because I was like, Brentford are going to beat Leicester, and Mbumo is going to be at the heart of everything they do. He got 0 goals, 0 assists in this game, so he got 2 points, which gave me 4 as captain.
Damn.
And he, to be fair, he had 1 goal, which I'm like, they gave him the assist first, and then they took it away, which just made me feel even worse. And I had a Brentford defender as well, the Dutch guy, Sepp van den Berg, and they didn't even keep the clean sheet at the other end, so he didn't get any points for me. So that was just crushing. I had a little insurance policy for the Southampton Brighton game. I had João Pedro in my team. Nothing. Did nothing. All my forwards were terrible this week. I had Watkins, nothing. Haaland, nothing. So just nobody delivering in the front line for me. But then the guys that came to my rescue, Bruno Fernandes, 2 assists. Thank you, Bruno. Cole Palmer, goal and assist. Thank you, Cole. I had Gabriel, like I say, he got me a bunch of points in 1 half. He got me 9 points in 1 half. Onana, clean sheet.
Does he get you any points from creating that penalty? Or they don't count that? That's an assist. Getting punched in the face is an assist.
Yeah, you could argue it. And Murillo got me a clean sheet for Forest as well. I was confident Forest could maybe shut out Ipswich, so I kept him in there. So I finished on 59 points. The global average was 60, so I'm 1 point off the average, but I've still dropped. So yeah, I'm on 695 overall. Martin's crept up to 697, which is annoying. Because it's literally just Saka that did it for him, really.
That's crazy because Saka got him the amount of points some people get for the entire weekend. 36 is high.
Yeah, that's crazy. He had Palmer as well. So Palmer and Saka combined. Then he had Aina at the back for Forest, who got a clean sheet. So yeah, he did okay. The top two are the same. Ahmad Zekri still number one. He had a big week. He got 98 points, which is crazy. He had Salah, Palmer, Saka, Jackson, Chris Wood. So he had Virgil as well. He had a good week. Brian Avino, who's in second, got 99 points, but he had Saka, Salah, Palmer. All these guys have got rid of Haaland. I need to take a leaf out of their book and do it because he frees up so much available transfer money. So yeah, those guys are going to
and he ain't scoring either. How do they know he's not going to score? Like that's a genius shit. Like that's intuitive fantasy shit.
Well, a lot of people are taking Haaland out now. I've still got him, and I'm going to keep him for one more game. He's got one more game to sort his shit out,
to prove himself to you.
They're playing Forest. They're playing Forest at home on Wednesday. I'm going to keep him in for Forest at home, and if he can't do it there, he's out for me. This is make or break. I'm giving him one more chance, and he's probably going to let me down, but I'm giving him one more chance.
Just so you know, that's a really losable game for them. The way Forest play, City plays into Forest's hands.
Yeah. Forest will just counter.
Yeah,
sit and counter.
They're like, come bring it. We love getting attacked. Come on.
But equally, it's a sort of game where midweek against a team who on paper they are much better than, City could just turn up and win that 4-0 and the streak's over.
This city,
and Haaland bangs a hat trick. Who knows? That's what I'm hoping for in terms of fantasy. This is the last chance for Haaland for me. And if he ain't doing it, that's him gone after this game.
Hilarious.
Which means that he will then start scoring because that's the rules.
Yeah.
In fantasy, because they got Palace away the next game. So that's the thing with Haaland. I keep being like, oh, maybe it's gonna, because he went on international break and scored a hat trick, I think, for Norway. I mean, it was against Kazakhstan, but it's still a hat trick. I was thinking, oh, maybe he's going to come back with a little bit of confidence.
He scored against Brighton,
but yeah, he did.
And he scored 2 against Feyenoord, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me in fantasy though. It's Premier League points only.
I'm just saying he's not out of form. Like he's actually
His fantasy returns have been terrible recently.
Yeah.
Like if I tell you what he's got recently, so against Liverpool, 2 points. Against Spurs, 2 points. Jeez. Against Brighton, 5 points because he scored. 2 points against Bournemouth. 6 points against Southampton because he scored. 2 points against Wolves. 2 points against Fulham. 2 points against Newcastle. And he's like the most expensive player in the game.
Damn.
And you got Saka putting up 18, which if you captain him is 36. So yeah, because at the moment, like Palmer and Haaland are like my 2 high value guys. And then I've got Fernandes and Mbumo who are like my sort of next tier down. Whereas if I took Haaland out, I've got the money for Saka and Salah.
Yeah, that's
some changes.
You should just do that. You should just do that because those 2 for sure. Like look what Salah did today, and he's been doing all season.
Yeah,
assist. Yeah, and I definitely do that. And Saka, especially now that Odegaard's back, that's the move.
Yeah, I did have Salah, and I took him out because I wanted to get in Palmer, I think it was. And also my front line was dead apart from Haaland. And I wanted like a sort of next tier value player like Watkins in there. And Watkins is annoying me because he's been hot and cold as well.
You got to get the player that's fighting for a contract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that guy is going to play. Yeah. For sure. 100%.
But yeah, I need to reshuffle. The problem is I need to reshuffle so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to you can either sacrifice some to make multiple transfers, or you can wait and sort of stack a few up. So I'm not going to make any this game week, and I'm going to stack up at least 2 for the weekend so that I can hopefully get back on track.
Right. All right, cool. Let's wrap this up. Anything you want to promote or anything football-y you want to throw in?
I went to watch the England women's team against the USA.
Oh, you went to
on
that?
Saturday? Yeah.
I saw the highlights.
There weren't any highlights. You didn't see it.
I know. It was 10 minutes of play breaking down on the final pass. America could not get the final pass.
Yeah.
On point.
It wasn't like a low quality game. Like tactically, it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a low entertainment game in terms of goal opportunities. Like England had 1 shot on target the whole game. I think USA had 4. Referee tried to give a penalty for a ball that was hit at someone's chest, and then went and watched it on VAR and was like,
what am I doing?
It's crazy that the ref took like 4 looks at it on VAR to be like, oh no, that's not a penalty. So yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I know the ref looked at that screen like the VAR officials were gaslighting her. No, you were wrong. This is what really happened. Nothing happened.
Yeah, so that was crazy. But it was quite cool. There was like 80,000 people in Wembley. Cool. It was like it was almost full. And yeah, so that was quite a cool thing to go to. So yeah, it was a nice way to spend a Saturday. And the game was a 5:20 kickoff, so I still had time to go into town and do a spot afterwards as well. So we got to do football and then a show in the evening. So that's still good.
It's good that you're checking out grassroots women's football. You know what I'm saying?
In front of 80,000 people.
In front of 80,000 people. Yeah. This weekend I have some shows in Texas.
I seen you posting. You're at like Houston Improv, I think.
Yeah, Houston Improv.
I've seen it.
Well, Addison first on the 5th. That's Thursday. And then on Sunday, the Houston Improv. And then in between that on Saturday, I have a Don't Tell in St. Louis. Find out where that's at.
Oh, wow. You're all over the map.
Yeah.
Zigzagging across the South.
Yeah. So that's my last weekend on the road.
St. Louis the South or St. Louis Midwest? I'm never sure.
I feel like it's Midwest.
I'm not sure what it's classed as.
It's the Midwest, but listen, they named everything too fast. They hadn't come full West before they know how big this country was before they started naming shit, sticking flags in the place.
That's right, because surely like because Addison's Dallas, isn't it? Pretty much.
I mean,
so like there to Houston would have been quite an easy jump without St. Louis in the middle.
Yeah, I could have even came home or stayed around and I don't know, drove.
You have Austin in between.
Yeah, I could have went to Austin, and that's what my agent told me to do. But then these guys hit me up about it. Don't tell. I was like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss the Comedy Store Christmas party.
Their shows are pretty cool. So
I'm going to miss the Comedy Store Christmas party on Sunday because of the Houston thing. Yeah, but
yeah, that's a shame.
Fuck it. It's whatever. It's just something I look forward to every year.
Yeah, sounds like a fun run of shows.
Yeah, it's a fun run of shows. So people pull up if you can, for sure.
Nice.
All right, everybody, be good. Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving. Last week it was, I guess, the Thanksgiving episode. We didn't even mention it. That's my bad. But it's Christmas time now. I have
got the small tree up.
Yeah, he's got the model tree. That's like that model tree. Does intermittent fasting. Yeah.
I got the size 0 tree.
The runway tree.
I haven't got too much space in the apartment, so it's like a space saver tree. Because if I put like a full blown thing up, I would have to sacrifice like somewhere to sit.
Living,
so, yeah.
It's just be a house for the tree.
This thing fits nicely. It's convenient as well as festive.
Where'd you get it from?
Just a supermarket. It's not a real one.
No, I want a Space Saver one like that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it from like Tesco, which is like our Walmart.
All right. Let's see if I can find one. But all right, man. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Have a good week. Everybody else listening, take care of each other. We love you. Be good. Merry Christmas. One.